Welcome back to Perkins Pipes. Got my, at least at the recording of this video, relatively new Aldo Velani semi-church warden bulldog. Got this guy, you may recall from other videos, at the Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Thanks to the inimitable Richard. Appreciate so much that. I've thoroughly enjoyed this pipe. Got my University of Texas hat on. There's a reason for that as well. And there's a reason for the pipe also. A couple of reasons. You'll see that as the video goes on. So, as always, let's get this guy lit. Let's get to talking. Part of the reason is just wanted to smoke him. Like this guy. But also, I don't know what it is. There's something about the name Aldo Velani. Somehow reminds me of an author named Valerio Massimo Manfredi, who was an Italian author. I read his trilogy of novels that have been translated into English. I don't read Italian. He had written a trilogy of novels on Alexander the Great, and that's a little bit of what we want to talk about here today. Oops. There we go. There we go. All right. The reason for the hat is that I did Greek as an undergrad, or some Greek, I should say. I did some Greek as an undergrad, and my major was in classical studies, but I focused on Latin. Did a little bit of Greek. Then in graduate school, I got into a little bit more Greek, and it was really in grad school I came to have a great interest in Alexander the Great. Now, I guess I'd always been interested in him to some degree, but I really took off in grad school. One of my professors, a fellow named Peter Green, at the University of Texas, was quite the Alexander scholar. He wrote a couple of major books on Alexander. And I don't know, just really, got captivated by his life, his personality. Read numerous historical novels. There's some really, really good stuff by Stephen Pressfield. Stephen Pressfield is a former military guy. I want to say Marine. Not positive. He's written a number of books set in the ancient world, several in and around Alexander's campaigns. Historically well-researched, great writer. Nobody in the modern world, for my money, writes better battle scenes than Stephen Pressfield. Maybe we'll try to throw some links in the notes. We'll show some covers of his books here. Maybe we'll have some of those going as we talk about him. Really great writer. If you like good, solid battle scenes, Stephen Pressfield's your guy. Now, there's something about Alexander that I like. And let me say very quickly, I know there's something about Alexander a lot of people do not like. He was a conqueror. Lived from 356 to 323 BC. Died just shy of his 33rd birthday. And he was a conqueror. Conquered the known world. Set out from Macedonia in northern Greece, headed eastward, conquered what was then the Persian Empire. And there were some horrific things that he did. For example, what he did to the Greek city of Thebes. You know what he did? Wiped it off the face of the map. Absolutely just razed it to the ground. Killed every man, woman, and child. Just wiped it off the face of the map. Basically did the same thing to the city of Tyre, except he built his own kind of causeway out to the island. Once he got out there, slaughtered everybody. So I recognize that, and I don't like that, okay? Let's be honest. Don't like that. But there is something about him that is inspiring. The young man full of passion and desire and able to led his men for a number of years, but even more importantly, over such vast terrain, over so many miles across the Persian Empire, basically Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, that area today. To keep an army together that long and over that distance is really quite an accomplishment. I want to show you my favorite bust of Alexander. We're going to bring a picture of that up now. There's so many busts of Alexander. This is my favorite. It captures him in his youth. Got some great hair. Let's just be honest. That would have been great hair in an 80s hair metal band. You know what I'm saying? Captures the wild-eyed, wild-haired look of the young man off to conquer the world, and in his case, quite literally. What I want to talk about, though, is one particular line of his. Now, we know about him several different ancient sources. There's the historian Arrian, who wrote History of Alexander. Quintus Curtius Rufus wrote History of Alexander. And the great Greek biographer Plutarch wrote a biography of Alexander and his lives of famous Greeks and Romans. And in his life of Alexander, I want to get the reference here. I've actually got the Greek memorized. The reference is Alexander, section 29.4. Now, you don't know if I'm cheating or not, but I'm telling you I'm not. Alexander was pursuing Darius, the king of Persia. Darius had numerically superior forces, and Alexander had been beating him at every turn. They're coming up to what would be called the Battle of Gaugamela. Sometimes the Battle of Arbela, which is the river nearby, just as in the American Civil War. Sometimes the battles are named by the nearest town, sometimes by the closest river. This one goes by the Battle of Arbela, if you're talking about the river, the Battle of Gaugamela, if you're talking about the nearest city. It's one of my all-time favorite battles. I'm going to tell you about the battle first. And then I'm going to tell you about something he said on the eve of battle. Alexander's men were greatly outnumbered, again. And you may know a little bit about ancient warfare. You basically lined up, all right, your best guys, the other person's best guys, right? You lined up on the field of battle, and then you just, boom, you had at each other. Alexander, with one exception, always fought on the right, on the far right wing of his army. He fought on the left wing at the Battle of Chaeronea, which was still under his father Philip's command, Philip of Macedonia. But once he became king, he fought on the right. And his father's really trusted commander, who for the longest time was Alexander's trusted commander as well, a fellow named Parmenion, would command the left. And Alexander's strategy that day, the Battle of Gaugamela, he had this massively long Persian line, much shorter Macedonian line. What Alexander did, and I don't know if you can kind of consider my timbre here as the line of battle, okay? So here's Alexander. He led his men slowly in retreat, bending the line backward, okay? Persian line, very long. Their left wing coming out to engage with Alexander. Well, Alexander kept stretching his line back and back and back, holding his line together until the Persian line broke. And in those days, one of the key things was if you get the enemy's line to break, you pretty much had the battle. Because they didn't have the kind of communication that we have today. And so if you could break through the enemy's line, you could separate the enemy. They wouldn't have the ability to communicate and possibly even take out the leader. Well, that's what Alexander was going for. He bends his line backward more and more. The left wing of the Persian army comes attacking him. Eventually, the Persian line broke. And as soon as that happened, Alexander gave the command to charge. And so his men charged through the Persian line, broke the Persian line, and he was on his way, really, to go kill Darius. He wanted to lop the head off the snake, as it were. It turns out by that time his left wing, Alexander's left wing, was in quite a bit of trouble, and he had a choice. Do I go after Darius, or do I go help my own men? He made the choice to go help Parmenion and his own men. Darius got away. Eventually, Darius was killed by one of his own commanders, a fellow named Bessus. So I liked the battle very much. Just prior, Darius had sent a message to Alexander. And he basically said, stop chasing me around. Okay? He said, if you will stop pursuing me, I'll give you up to half my kingdom, certain sum of gold, and the hand of one of my daughters in marriage. And as they were talking about it, this is what Plutarch, in section 29.4, wrote that was apparently the conversation between Parmenion, Alexander's trusted older advisor, who had been his father's trusted commander, and then what Alexander said in response. It's one of those ones I memorized just because I like it. I like it for the boldness. Kai Parmenionos e Pontos. Ego men. E Alexandros emen elban antauta. Kako ne dia epen ho Alexandros e Parmenion. You say, Steve, that's Greek to me. And I would say, yes, it is. And translates to this. And when Parmenion said, if I were Alexander, I would take this deal. Right, half the kingdom, gold, hand of the royal princess in marriage. He said, if I were Alexander, I would take this deal. Alexander said, and so would I, by God, if I were Parmenion. Doggy, that's a mic drop moment in history if ever there was one. Parmenion's looking at it just from the perspective of profit loss columns, I guess. He's looking at it in a somewhat bookkeeping sort of way, not to knock bookkeepers at all. He says, look, it's a good deal. Half the kingdom, a lot of gold. Marry one of his daughters. Who knows where this could lead you, right? Maybe after Darius dies, maybe you take over. This could be a good deal. If I were you, I'd take this deal. And Alexander just stares him down and flips it around on him, and he says, and so would I, if I were you. And he goes on to say, but I am Alexander, and I don't make deals. Well, you can say, man, that's incredibly arrogant. Incredibly arrogant of a young man, especially not to take an older military advisor's advice on this. What can I say? I like the line. I'm drawn to the kind of person who steps up, who steps into it, who goes for it. Whether that's in sports, whether that's the bold evangelist or apologist who's willing even to get martyred, if it comes to that, to share the faith of Christ. A person who won't let someone else get bullied, sees some bullying going on the playground, jumps into it, steps into it. Just knock that off. Defends the other person. I like the bold personality. The one who doesn't make deals. Who goes for the gold. Goes for the brass ring. We're mixing all kinds of metaphors up in here today. It inspires me. Even now, at my age, it inspires me. So, my friends, got some questions about Alexander for you. What do you think of Alexander the Great? Megas Alexandros. What do you think about Alexander the Great? Did you like him as a figure of history? Do you know him at all? Do you know a little? Do you know a lot? Do you think he's horrible because he's a conqueror and you can't see anything good in man? Or do you think he's a military genius? Do you think he's a great leader? What do you know? What do you think about Alexander? And then, what do you think about this scene? What do you think about that line? Take aside the whole conquering aspect. If you can set that aside for a moment and boil this one down to the essence. Take the deal. Go for something lesser. Go for the gold. Even if you risk everything. What do you think about that? You know, Alexander's favorite character in Homer's Iliad was Achilles. And it was the same thing for Achilles. He was promised the possibility of a long life, but no glory. Or glory that would last forever and a short life. He chose the latter. We're still talking about Achilles today. And obviously that's fiction. I get that. But that story inspired Alexander. And like I say, to a certain degree, Alexander inspires me as well. So, can't wait to hear your thoughts. Man, I love this pipe. I really enjoy this pipe. As Malcolm Guite likes to say, I do these little things in order at last to do nothing. Or as I like to say in Latin, Parva ago ut tandem, nihil agam. Have a wonderful day.